Hey everybody, it's September 9th, 2022. We're going to take a look at Bitcoin, see what the rest of the week brought. So first up, what I said on Monday. At the time, we were still stuck in that annoying 19.5 to 20.5 region we'd been stuck in for like 10 days or so. After the candle opened, we saw a spike up to 22 and then got slapped down. So I was expecting, with that bearish engulfing candle, that we would head down lower from there, and all possibilities were on the table. So at the time, I was 80% cash, and I had shorts, which were covering more than my remaining 20%. So I was net short at the time. I was going to plan to add spot buys in the 18K area. And then if we saw proof of a bottom, I would add even more buys for the next leg up in the bull market. And the primary scenario that I had here, most probable, was we would see a bottom directly anywhere in the 17.2 to 19.4 region. The alternate scenarios we still have to be aware of course. This one is getting less and less likely as we proceed. This one's still possible, although recent action has made it unlikely as well. And this one, of course, is out because it did in fact go lower. So let's take a look. That was on the 5th of September. That was right here. We saw that candle, bearish engulfing candle, and from that I was expecting probably see lower from that point. But as you can see with the action over the last couple of days, we have significantly seen a nice big pump. So I did do some buying, down in this region, and then members got an update right here on like the 7th, 8th. I saw this on the micro looked like a possible 5-wave move. Let me go down to the 5-minute and show you. So I was watching this micro action. Oops. Cancel. Tried to move an alert there by accident. All right. I was watching this micro action here off of the low, and I said, you know what? This looks potentially like 5 waves here. So I was going to be watchful for an ABC down, and I laid out this green box right here. And at that point in time, I loaded up heavily. And members got an update on that. And let me just show you so you know I'm not full of crap. Here it is. This was the alert I sent right here, September 8th. This was at like 8 in the morning. Went on a buying spree. I posted my current portfolio makeup, all of the the percentages of altcoins versus Bitcoin and all that, and I said I'm back to being all in on crypto. So at that point, that was a message to all the members, like now's the time to buy. There were still some concerns, but I was on alert for getting head shorts if needed or selling back into cash. But at the time, I was pretty confident this is the time to get back in. So I am out of all of my shorts, and I'm back into crypto as of that green box right there. And I don't just own Bitcoin, I own a bunch of altcoins too that have good setups. Actually, it's not a bunch, it's half a dozen that actually have good setups. So, it really, the action can happen at any time, of course, and you need to be paying attention to those indicators. And that was a pretty strong indication to me that the bottom was very possibly in, especially considering at that point we did in fact get into this box, which for clarity's sake I changed the color on this. This used to be the yellow box because that was the yellow scenario, and up until after my last update we hadn't actually touched it. I was waiting for a move down into that yellow box, and obviously we saw that there. So let me change that back to green now. Now what we've seen from here is, as I said, that micro was wave 1. There's our wave 2 where I bought, and we've seen a strong wave 3. And last night in my update to members, I said, we might see a rejection here at that 19.7 level, but I foresaw a very real possibility that we just crashed through that instead, because everybody and their mom was looking to short there. And Bitcoin really likes to screw over the vast majority of people. So most people were shorting at that region, and so obviously it's going to go through it and just try to stop all those shorts out. And that, of course, is what we've seen today. So we have 3 waves up now. The third wave is very extended, which is a good sign. And now basically what we need to see is a 4th wave and a 5th wave. Now, wave 3 may not be done. This could continue to keep going up. And if we don't see sort of a semi-major pullback, doesn't have to be huge, but something that we can actually discern on the chart, a pullback like that. If we don't see one of those, I'll assume that we're just continuing in the 3rd wave for a little bit longer until we do see kind of a more significant pullback. So that is possible. We'll see what the weekend brings. But as of right now, if that's the top, which maybe it is, maybe it isn't, if it's the top, our 4th wave main support zone is here between the 618 and the 786. So that's about 20.5 to 21K basically is the main area to expect a pullback to go to. And the line in the sand that would break this from being an impulse is right here, this 0.5 fib at about 20,250, give or take. That's the line in the sand. If we break down below it, it's not a immediately bearish sign, but it would be a very strong warning, because that is the beginnings of a potential failure where we could go lower still if it broke below that level. It could still be bullish. It could do, a diagonal like this. We've seen plenty of diagonals recently, but my hope is that it stays with this impulsive structure. If it stays impulsive, it makes our job a lot easier because targets are very clear in an impulse. And so the target here for the 5th wave, assuming we hold above 20.2, 20,250, the target is about 22.2 to 22.7, give or take, for the 5th wave. And again, that's assuming the 3rd wave's already done. So that'll be modified if the 3rd wave extends further. But for now, that's what I'm looking at. And then if we do fill out those waves right there, we will then see yet another pullback, and that'll be our 2nd wave in this next leg up. And so that would be, if you missed this buying opportunity here, that would be your next best buying opportunity, would be after the pullback on that 5th wave. Buying in after that, and then riding that up. So I want to take a quick look here at the more macro structure. So because of where this went, let me just double check. That's the bottom, that's the top. Yeah, it stayed above, just barely stayed above the 886. And so this is still, I'm still considering this wave 1 and this wave 2. It's very deep, but it's still within the realm of possibility. And if you remember when I was talking about this high, getting struck somewhere in this red box, I said, this is a diagonal structure, and it's a crappy diagonal structure at that. So I expected a very deep pullback, sub 20K, and possibly down at the 1819s. I was saying that when we were here. And of course that has played out, and that's exactly what I was talking about. But the strong reaction we have so far is a great sign. So in any case, the point being, if this had gone down further, if we'd done a double bottom, we could have ignored all of this. It would have given Bitcoin a chance to maybe do a 1st wave up off of the low in an impulsive way instead. But since it bounced right there before the 886, I do still have to consider this to be wave 1 and that to be wave 2. And so what I want to do now is draw, let me just expand this a little bit, draw a Fib extension Let me turn my magnet on. We're going to do a fib extension from the very, very bottom here up to the top of that first wave, and then down to the bottom. Oh my gosh, disappeared on me. Okay, down to the bottom. Which should be there. Was that the most? I thought I went a little further. There. Okay. So there's our fib extension for wave 1 and wave 2. And I'm going to zoom out just a little bit here so we can get these targets on here. That's an alternate. Okay. So turn this off now. Here's our wave 1. Here's our wave 2. Our wave 3. We can expect it to go to the 1618 probably, because if you look down here at the micro, assuming these 5 waves play out, that's going to put us right here at the 618 fib extension. And we should then see a pullback to about the 382. So I'm expecting we get to around 22, maybe 23K, and then a pullback down to about 21. And that'll be our initial wave 1 and 2 of this more major third wave. More major third wave then goes to the 1618. That's at 32.6. Then we'll see a big pullback and a 4 potentially, and then wave 5 can get us all the way up here to 37.2, and we are going to make this higher degree here, like I want to use intermediate, and we're going to put that in yellow. That's my primary scenario now. Let me just get rid of that diagonal. Okay. All right, so there's our more major path that I will expect to see, assuming this plays out. We get our 5 waves up like I want to see. Then we get a pullback. Next wave from there, about 28.5. Assuming we get these 5 and then pull back, 28.5 is the next major target there. Then a little pullback, and then that press up to that 32.6 level or so before we see the next major pullback, and then we continue up from there. So the reason I'm pointing this out is because this is going to be an even larger first wave then from there. Once those 5 play out, that's wave 1 in the larger sense, and we'll get a pullback for a wave 2 in the larger sense. And then after that is where we should see a really strong fireworks from there. And we'll have to see, right now the target on the macro is still pointing to 130K plus. And so that's where I'm expecting that will eventually take us. And if we can see extensions along the way here, if this third wave ends up extending a little higher, and the 5th wave extends a little higher, that'd be even better. The higher we can get in this initial wave, the better. We'll still have a second wave pullback, of course, but then that can shoot us up even higher after that. So anyway, that's what I'm looking at for the larger picture then. And so I'm going to remove that fib extension. Well, no, I'm going to keep it on there. I was thinking maybe it would make it a little messy, but let me just make it kind of slightly less bright so it's not in my way. I know there's a lot of stuff on this chart now. All right. So there is primary scenario. As I said, waiting for 5 waves to play out is what we should be looking for. Pullback to around 21K after that is to be expected, and that will be your next best buying opportunity after that. Alternate scenarios, let's take a look at that. Okay, in the alternate scenario, number one, this basically all has to be a first wave down, which I cannot in good faith say that I think that's true. This looks, like 3 waves basically. It does not look like a 5-wave move down, so that does look corrective to me. I'm not too worried about an alternate bearish scenario, to be honest, but we always have to be aware of it. This could be forming a more complex pattern. If it fails on 3 waves here, this could be W, X, and Y, and as long as we hold above 15.7, that's fine. We can still see a lower low potentially. Again, I don't expect that right now, but it's something we'll have to keep track of. If 20.2 breaks, we'll have to take that a little bit more seriously. And that's really the only alternative I can come up with. Like I said, I really can't count that as a wave 1, but if we start seeing some really bearish action, then I'll have to reconsider that, I guess. But it'd be like wave 1, wave 2, and then wave 3, 4, 5, down, down, down. But again, I don't think that is probable at all. So I'm going to focus mainly on just tracking this impulse, and we'll go from there. And I'll update, if any of the action begins to fail, then we can start considering alternatives a little bit more. Okay, I think that's all I've got for you on Bitcoin. So I'll talk to you again on Monday. We'll see where we are in this pattern, and hopefully we will have formed 5 waves by then, or we'll be on our way to it anyway, and we'll go from there. All right, you guys have a great weekend.